And we're live. Bill, I see you studying up there.
No, I'm not studying.
That's good. You're prepping. Appreciate that about you.
You're welcome, Sean.
Bill wants to be audience ready. We're joined as always, Bill, by Katie.
Hello.
And we have a special returning guest. 3-time?
Second.
Second?
Just the second.
Really?
Yep.
I was gonna say fourth.
No.
Really?
No.
We should have taken a poll.
I guess.
Joe Rigo joins us back. Joe runs HR here at Pay Factors. And we're here today to talk about an interesting topic, job descriptions. So I'm going through something with this now, and I'll kind of weave that story in. It's one of the things that sparked this. But we often say job descriptions, it's the core of great compensation, right? You have to know what you're matching against to be able to get the right data. But this doesn't happen as well as we'd like it to, as often as we'd like it to. Is that right, Joe?
That is 100% correct.
Why is that?
Because a lot of companies, you sort of set it and forget it. You do it once, usually when you're recruiting, and it sort of gets put into a folder somewhere, and people move on.
Never thought of again.
Never thought of again, which, I'm sure we're going to talk about a lot today, why that's not what you should be doing, and you should be looking at it. And it is a living, breathing document. But it's always something that's sort of bottom of the list for managers, especially. Needs to get kind of pushed to the top of the list with HR to help managers kind of keep it a living, breathing document.
Why has it traditionally been that way? Is it just that we do it when we need to recruit for a job? Because, right, that's the obvious thing. They're like, can you put together a job description? You're like, fine, yeah, let me go through these bullet points together. Let me put this out there. And then clearly that's going to evolve probably from the moment the person walks in the door.
Correct.
And we just kind of leave it be because that's just the accepted contract, if you will, between manager and employee?
Yeah, and usually things are going fine until someone's, getting promoted, or you might take another look at it if you're expanding the team and you're adding another position. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't, to be honest. And I think more often than not it happens, it comes up again when someone's looking for an increase. If they're talking about, potentially getting a raise, or you're doing performance reviews, right? Like those are the times that it usually comes to mind. But other than that, it's not usually what people are thinking about. They're just doing their job.
Well, I think managers don't manage to the job description,
Also
to
true.
the document.
Correct.
That the working world is much more fluid than the
10 bullets in
the HR document library, and that you can change your direct reports role or pieces of their responsibilities by talking to that person who works for you, and you don't really think of or feel like you need to go back and add a new bullet point or cross one out of the job description that's sitting in a file cabinet somewhere. Showing my age, talking about file cabinets, but
File cabinet.
Virtual file cabinets.
Whatever these kids call it.
Those crazy kids.
Or you might have both.
No, but the last bullet point is normally the most important one, right? Like
Right.
other duties and tasks as the role requires.
Right,
or
but
whatever, right?
right, you know it and I know it, and what that entails, but we're not documenting it clearly because we don't feel the need to paper every daily change in what you're asking somebody
And
to do.
especially in some environments, like I think of like here, like it's changing like fast and furiously. I feel like you'd be like updating every week. Not even, that's an exaggeration, but like.
But not much of one, to be honest. I mean, like in a high growth company that is, growing both in terms of employee count and product offerings and sort of the evolution of a company, those things really do happen, to your point, Bill, real time. And so, you're having a conversation with your employee and it's like, you did really great in this project, so now I'm going to have you do this. It just evolves over time, and no one is thinking, I need to go tell HR so they can go update the job description. Like that doesn't really happen, right?
So what's the risk of not doing that? What is the risk of relying on that last bullet point as the catch-all?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different risks that can go into it. Obviously, performance, right? If you're doing performance evaluations and you're trying to evaluate how they're doing, best practice says you should be evaluating it against their job description, but if their job description doesn't have it in there. So say you're having a performance conversation with your employee, and say it's a hard one, right? They're maybe not performing to the standards that you're hoping. It's hard and you're sort of exposing yourself a little bit if it's not in the job description. If they're performing in a negative way against something that is not in their job description, it's harder to say, well, you're not doing it because we've never documented that it's there. So, that's one. And I think we can go down this rabbit hole of if there was a termination that if there was a lawsuit that went into it, a lot of you want that documentation from a legal perspective to match up what they're actually doing.
You also want it for when you're market pricing the job. And I was going to say, how often do people listening to this podcast have this problem where you come up with a market price and manager says, wait, that's not what she does. She does this, and that's because they changed the job description verbally with the employee and didn't tell HR.
Or maybe not even did that. The job just evolves naturally over time. Nobody's ever stopped to think about it.
Or you have a group of people all that have the same core responsibilities, but developers, and one's an expert in Ruby on Rails and another one's an expert in C#. And that's not distinguished on their job descriptions.
Mm-hmm. Right. Just develop software or whatever, right? There's no distinct certification of skill there that might showcase that difference and might lead to a different market pricing.
Right. And different performance metrics and different value to the company.
Or just I think of, some people on my team who are more earlier in their careers and oh, wow, you're really good at doing X, Y, and Z. So we're going to have you do more of that. Mm-hmm. And maybe because you're going to do all of that, you're not going to do all of this anymore. And we'll give your that to someone else.
Well, that's a really good point, because, especially in a company that's evolving like ours, that happens all the time, right? You have someone early on in their career, you give them more responsibility because they're showing that they're really good at something, or maybe they're specializing in something, but other stuff might get taken off. And so because of that, then you realize you actually have to create a new position. So, job descriptions really touch, sort of like comp. It really touches everything, right? Because it can help dictate or at least inform kind of hiring plans. Mm-hmm. If you're doing the reviews sort of on any sort of cadence, then you can take a look at the data. Because to your point, right? If someone is no longer, handling if someone's no longer responsible for a certain aspect of a department, you're going to have to find someone to take those roles on.
Yeah.
And that might be another headcount.
One of the things, Bill, you were hitting on earlier that we say a lot is imagine trying to get that updated. Comp needs it most typically, right? At least they need it most frequently when they're benchmarking. But the process for doing that is typically a nightmare, right? It's send it to the manager. The manager's going to be like, this is or this isn't. I don't know. I got to go back to the employee. Employee's got to do it. Employee comes back to the manager. Manager says yes or no. Maybe changes again. That goes back to comp, right? And you can actually multiply that a couple times over depending on how many layers and how many people have to look at this. It can be worse for recruiting because if a board of people has to look at it, some kind of hiring committee has to look at it. So what is a good way to get this updated? What is a good way to make sure that we're regularly updating job descriptions?
Yeah, I think it's good for companies to have some sort of policy where, at least annually you're looking at the job descriptions. I think some companies, could even say that, maybe the cadence is twice a year, right? If you're really in a high growth sort of rapidly changing company. But I do think it's important to come up with some sort of schedule and not just let it happen when a new person's coming on or you're posting a new job.
Does it almost fall into the trap of annual performance reviews then, where if you're a manager of 30 people, you have to do 30 reviews all of a sudden, or do you do it, is the best way to do it maybe on a rolling basis somehow, at higher anniversaries or some version thereof?
Yeah, I think you'll find people who are sort of in both camps, right? Some people don't want to think about it constantly, sort of like performance reviews, right? Some companies are, performance reviews are done on anniversary dates. Some are just a prescribed month or whatever. I think that's more of a philosophical question. I don't know that there's a right or wrong there. But for department or managers who have 30 people, doing 30 at once
Sounds just a little bit overwhelming.
It does. I also think, some people would find that there's like economy of scale there, right? Like, the core bullet points are going to be the same, and then they really only have to, kind of tweak for individuals. But then I think you run the risk of not really paying attention to the individuals. Well, no, and that, if you have 30 people and they have the same core responsibilities, I can envision managers going, well, they're all the same.
Totally, that's what I mean. That you're not investing the time that you should to make sure that you're capturing the uniqueness of each person or role.
Right.
If that's kind of like the perfect end world, how should an organization look at getting there? Like, are there goals that they should look at in order to say, we have X percent of jobs, the descriptions of them updated semi-annually, annually? Like, how do you know if you're doing a good job at that or not?
I think that's part and parcel why they're not updated all that frequently, because it's hard to measure, it's hard to implement, and it's sort of, I don't know, I worry about the return on investment of time is what the managers are going to push back on this, going,
Sure.
I don't need this, I've got this, or I'll do it when I need to update it.
Yeah, it's more risk mitigation on the company's standpoint, which is tough to quantify.
Yes.
I mean, it's sort of I think everyone's waiting for there to be a good, clean, simple practice for doing it, or
just like
method
annual
for
performance
doing it.
reviews, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Hashtag sarcasm.
Hashtag
Thanks
I get
for
it.
hashtagging that.
No, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill's making filing cabinet references. I can make hashtag references.
Is that not a thing anymore?
Oh, no, I'm just...
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, Bill. I mean, I think it's, from an HR perspective, it's hard to get managers to do anything that doesn't give them immediate impact, right? And unless you have an employee situation where the manager's like, oh, I need to do something for this specific person, it's hard for them to see the value in it.
I mean, can you make it easier for them so that it's not such an overwhelming task? So back to our previous example, if you have 30 employees, you don't have to go through 30 one or two page documents and edit them. Like, is there a quick, easy way to do additions, deletions, and corrections?
If there's a here's tasks and skills that are typical of this role.
Right.
Right, those kind of things as well, just to at least give them a jump start on it.
Right.
Well, I mean, they should all be starting from something, right?
From,
you
from
should-
the baseline
Right.
job description.
Unless it's a brand new job, I guess, or something.
Right, but if it's a brand new job, then
You're still
HR's...
probably blending from other existing roles, right?
I mean, unless it's like a truly hot emerging job that doesn't exist
Yeah.
before, then that's a little bit different. But, I mean, if we're posting for a net new position here, there's, HR meets with the hiring manager. We sort of, do an intake and, what are the responsibilities and then there are core kind of responsibilities in every position,
Yeah.
right? So you're not starting from a blank slate each
Right,
time.
and the value of products, that sort of it is, as a manager, if you tell me go write a job description for this new job I'm thinking of, that's a big task, and I'm like, I don't even know what a job description looks like. But if I have a template, it has sort of overview, responsibilities, experience, skill, like you list it out, and you see one or two examples of, as Katie was getting at, jobs close, similar, even parallel. It doesn't have to be anything that exactly is the same as the job you're looking at, but just get a sense of, what level of depth do I talk about responsibilities or skills, and then I can think, oh, this new job, I want to make sure this person knows how to do A, B, and C. I want to make sure that they have at least 5 years experience doing that. I want to make sure that they speak a foreign language, if that's relevant, whatever it is. So, now I know what kinds of things to put on and what level of depth. It makes it easier.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's turn this around. What about from a recruiting side? How do you write job descriptions that help you stand out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's so important, especially in this market. It still hasn't slowed down. So, you're competing against companies for a very small pool of people that are looking, or, that you can potentially, take away from another company. So I think it's really important to have something about the company that stands out, right? Like that you're creative in how you're describing the company and the perks that come along with it, and the kind of, in less than a paragraph, sort of say like why you want to work at the company, at Pay Factors, or wherever. But I think it's also important to, from a, when you're looking or when you're writing a job description, viewing it from a candidate perspective, that it's not so prescribed that you're gonna turn off people that may actually be interested, right? So, a lot of the times, you'll put down skills, and then maybe, if there's a few, and this really depends on the manager, but if, there's a few skills like preferred to have this experience, you would do that if the manager is willing to teach it, right? So you might be looking for someone who might not have that exact skill, but has something similar. And you write it in a way so that it's known to the people that are looking, or the candidates looking at it, that, oh, I don't have this exact skill, but I have this comparable skill. So it's really about sort of, kind of promoting the company and sort of casting a wide enough net to not like make the pool of candidates smaller than it already is.
When the talent's that tight, though, what are the things that you look for to help something stand out? Is it, you said like a succinct explanation of the company and why I should work here. What are the other things that might be able to help out with that?
I think kind of adding sort of life at the company helps. Again, doesn't have to be super extensive, but sort of high, Impact. Thank you. Things that will really draw people and get their attention. It's not just another, job description with a bunch of bullet points on it, right?
Yeah.
Something that'll draw them in, that'll make them interested.
Yeah,
Putting a little bit of life into them too. I feel like some job descriptions can read really dull and boring and legal, right?
Yes.
And you can give them, obviously they have to in some
Right.
aspects, but like give them a little bit of personality and in a way that like reflects your company culture.
Right. I do think you have to kind of balance it, because I've
Yeah.
seen some that are just, I read it and I'm like, I don't know what this is, right? So
Yeah.
I was going to say, it is a marketing document, much like a resume is a marketing document, and you want to present the job description in a way that encourages the right kind of candidate to respond and react and go, huh, that's interesting. I want to follow up with these people. And, sometimes those boring ones actually appeal to the right person.
Right.
There are people that want those very predictable, easy, I don't mean easy work, but easy, like they want to be in a box. Not everybody wants to be on a rocket ship ride. Not everybody wants to have this exciting, foosball table environment.
Yeah.
And some people want to come to their job, do the thing they're good at, and go home at night. And
I just want to go back there for a minute. So it's foosball tables that make a place exciting?
not for me.
and free beer.
So like I could just move a foosball table into
Any office, and
It's good?
And
Yeah.
candidates just show up.
Party start?
You don't even
you
have
need
to
a
post
cold
jobs.
brew, too.
Yeah, cold brew and the beer.
Of course.
And foosball. Those are my 3 requirements
about
for any
ping pong?
workplace.
Ping pong and foosball? Does that like double your amount of pool of candidates?
I think usually
Yeah.
you want the table that can like convert, like you can flip it over on one side. It's
Sounds like it's cheaply made. I
probably
need
is.
a high-end ping pong table that's been custom made. Has
with
my
your company
company's
logo right on it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, matching paddles.
Okay. Oh,
See?
that's a detail I hadn't thought of.
Brand colors.
Brand
Yes.
colors. Yeah. Bill,
Yeah, I don't think that works.
you were the one that said it. I was just wondering how far this goes. If I do a better job at it,
And
do
you
we
just
get
hear the
better
tap.
candidates?
I would say that appeals to certain people, that environment. It's an example, Sean.
So what else? What else about job descriptions? Try to put your voice into it. Try to keep it customized to your company and why somebody might want to work there, but try to make it so that there's enough that you can match it relatively easily. Try to keep these things updated on a regular basis,
Right.
whatever that might
I
mean
think
to
make
you
it
and your
easy.
company.
Make it easy for the line managers
Make it easy
to
to
update them.
To access and update even. Like I don't even know where to go half the time.
Right. I think
Uh-oh.
I think solving
I'm
that
getting
problem.
the stink eye.
No, I was waiting for you to give me one. Is what I was doing there. I was looking as like I shouldn't be saying this. But I'm gonna-
It's all right. It's a work in progress, right? I think every company is though, right? I think it's always, and an evolving process to get to what's most efficient.
What about at companies that don't they're early stage or just small companies and they don't really have those perks, and the wild company culture with the ping pong table and the foos table and yada 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 is not something that they either want to or are able to offer? How can they stand out?
I mean, I think so you don't put in, you would obviously not put in the perks if there aren't any,
Right.
but I think it's more, it's about how they describe themselves, right? I mean, because if you're thinking about a really tiny startup, that doesn't have those perks yet, but you're marketing to a very specific type of person who's willing to take that risk of going to a startup. So I think that's less about the perks, but more about how you're describing the company and
Potential.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it comes out as what you're trying. Why are you in business? What are you trying to do? Why did you start this thing? Or why are you, what is your mission? And what is the value that coming to work for you brings? And I think we talk a lot about startups here, but, a startup could be an accountant that leaves a mid-size or large accounting firm and, quote, hangs a shingle, opens up a little CPA shop on Main Street.
I'm thinking of the,
and needs needs a bookkeeper and some sort of analyst and a receptionist / secretary.
In my mind, the true startup is probably looking to grow, whereas otherwise, what
Right.
you just described, a small business.
Small
is
business.
No, this is
Right.
This is what we're going to be, and we're never going to have a ping pong table because there's 5 or 6 of us, or
Right.
whatever.
Right, and so then you're pitching what is that business have that some potential employees want? It's convenient, it's local, it's a family kind of business. It's likely an area you're interested in. And so you pitch those things, and you're not competing for a huge, you're not going to post this job nationally. You're going to post it probably in the local newspaper. Or on the newspaper's website, or maybe with flyers.
Oh, the shame,
cabinet.
Sean.
You're gonna post it by emailing a bunch of your friends
Sure,
and
you
your
don't
former
just-
coworkers.
Right.
You don't want to start over this podcast?
Put it in your town's Facebook.
Sure.
I was just
type of
literally
thing.
thinking Facebook, right? I see it all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah.
Be our town hiring. And,
Yes.
yeah.
Right. And what do they say? Say work local. Maybe get a discount on your taxes.
Yeah,
Some of
yeah.
That but those are things that appeal to people that don't want to commute to work, people that want to have some sort of constrained schedule. And that's what you sell. That's what you're pitching.
All right, well, we covered a lot today. Joe, thanks for joining us again.
Sure, anytime.
We'll have you back again soon to make it 3.
Okay.
And then
And then 4, right?
And then 4.
Maybe we
boy.
could just jump right to 4.
That's okay too.
We'll do
I
back-to-back
don't know how that
recordings.
would work.
We'll jump to the future.
Time travel.
Hopefully this was helpful. I think one of the best things that we can do is make sure that put ourselves in the shoes of the managers who have to keep these things regularly updated and the employees who might want to help with that. So be empathetic or sympathetic to what they're going through and trying to figure out a process that won't be too invasive. I think that's one of the biggest pushbacks against the common foe here of annual performance reviews, right? If they hit all at once and they start to look alike and then you're just remembering the last month, you don't want that to happen with something like job descriptions. That's really important as well. So try to figure out a way in your culture and your organization that these things work and can work well, and try to keep them at a regular cadence so that they don't fall too far behind, that everybody has to do massive updates at once. Other than that,
I've got one quick Comp and Coffee announcement that I don't think I made on the last podcast, but we are now on Spotify.
Oh, that's
So-
exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, we're pretty excited. Find us there and listen to us there, as well as all the other places that you listen to your podcasts on.
and if you are still using filing cabinets, we can print it out, put it on one of the magnet clips, and hang it up there if you want to just read the transcript. Of what we got
Okay,
going
I was
on.
gonna say, how would we? And we can also send you a photo of Bill if we do that.
We'll download
Autographed.
Yes. Ooh,
Right.
autograph.
autograph photos.
That
as well.
is, if anyone wants that, please email us.
If you want an autographed photo of Bill, please email coffee@payfactors.com or give us a review, 5 stars,
go.
where you like to listen, now including Spotify. Let us know a way to identify you, and we'll send you an autographed picture of Bill.
Glossy.
I prefer matte.
Well, I just did a whole print run of glossy, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
And the Sharpie is for the glossy paper, Bill. The glossy paper.
I think this is my last podcast.
What? We can't go
It's
on
all been
without
pushing to
you.
this point. It's all been pushing to that. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks.
Thank you.